I'd like to start by introducing Dr. Michelle Seref. Dr. Michelle Seref is the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Programs and the Collegiate Professor in Information Technology at Virginia Tech's Pamplin College of Business. Welcome, Michelle. Derin Murphy is the Program Coordinator at the Innovate Living Learning Community at Virginia Tech. This is her 6th year working with living learning communities, from an undergrad peer mentor to 7 LLCs in graduate school, now leading Innovate's LLC program. Thanks for being here, Derin. And Koehler Slagel is an assistant professor of practice at Virginia Tech's Pamplin College of Business and has experience working with small businesses and startups. He has an MBA and his Bachelor of Science in Management and Entrepreneurship. Thank you all for being here. I will now turn the time over to you, and I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much, Camille. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to make sure I have our presentation ready to go. And just make sure you can all see that all right.
Looks great.
Great. And if I do this, can you still see it okay?
Yes, perfect. And I will give you a 5-minute warning and then a 2-minute warning as we wrap up the presentation for the 30 minutes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. As Camille said, my name is Michelle Seref, and I'm the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Programs at the Pamplin College of Business at Virginia Tech. And I'm very happy to be joined today by Derin Murphy and Koehler Slagel, who are both essential parts of our living learning community ecosystem here. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how we've set up our LLCs in Pamplin, and then turn it over to Derin and Koehler to talk to you more about the specifics of one of our LLCs, the Innovate Living Learning Community. So I wanted to give you some context for the Pamplin College of Business. We have 7 departments here in Pamplin, and each of those departments has multiple majors and concentrations. And so we have a variety of student interest, from accounting to business information technology and cybersecurity, to finance and fintech, to event and experience management in the hospitality and tourism space, to entrepreneurship, HR, and management consulting analytics, as well as marketing management, and to real estate options. And so I just wanted to set the scene to let you know the kind of scope of our students that we have coming in as undergraduates and the different areas they can go into. And many of our students do come in applying for a specific major, but we do also have a big portion that are undecided. And so part of what we try and do with our living learning centers is help students join a community based on interest, which would help them explore then the major that they want to end up in. So that's an overview of our departments and majors. And so what we do in the undergraduate programs is we provide student services for both academic and experiential learning. We have, of course, academic advising and student success to help students either switch their major or add a double major or choose a minor. We support them also in their kind of general health and their success working through the curriculum. We have an undergraduate TA program here on the Pamplin College of Business, where we have our current students who have done really well become the TAs for the class in their next semester. And so that's a nice near peer program that we have, and those TAs are trained. We have an undergraduate research program that we're developing to help students consider a research opportunity that, again, is part of our exploration encouragement. We also have several scholarships and awards based on merit, service, and leadership. So those are our academic services. And then on the right side, you'll see our experiential programs. So Pamplin College of Business does have its own career service center. And so we put on career fair events. We have multiple professional development workshops. We have career advising for students. And again, encouraging exploration by matching major to career and industry applications. Most of our students do have at least one internship before they graduate. And so we're big proponents of helping students find their career path. We also have international programs where we provide multiple study abroad options as well as exchange programs. Some of our programs include internships abroad. And we have a global mentorship program for international students, and those international students may also be in our LLC programs. And then we have multiple student organizations where students really lead the way in groups devoted to leadership development, community impact. They take treks to visit companies. They bring in speakers and host events. Again, trying to empower the student to get involved early on. And then, of course, we have our living learning communities, and that's what we'll be talking about more. So here are our 3 living learning communities, and hopefully you can see all of those, okay? So we have 3 different living learning communities here in the Pamplin College of Business. The first one is Innovate, and that's what Derin and Koehler will be talking about more. And the Innovate living learning community is focused on entrepreneurship. And for each of our LLCs, we have a program coordinator that focuses on the living side, which is the extracurricular support. And then we have an academic coordinator, which focuses on the learning side, which includes a course that all students are required to take their first semester in the LLC, as well as co-curricular events, which may be pitch competitions or additional fireside speaker events. And then each of our LLCs is connected with a center. So the Innovate LLC, which is the Entrepreneurship LLC, is connected with our Apex Center, which is for entrepreneurship. And so that's something Koehler can speak more to as he talks. Koehler is our academic coordinator for Innovate, so he can speak a little more to Apex and kind of the co-programming that we have between the course and that center. Lots of really exciting hands-on events and support for students who are wanting to try out the entrepreneurship path, variety of different projects, really helping them from start to finish. So that's very exciting. Our second LLC is the Impact Living Learning Community, and that's for students who are interested in data analytics. For this LLC, we actually co-run it with the College of Science, and the supporting center is our Center for Business Analytics. And in addition to bringing in events and speakers from the center to support the course and the program coordination, the CBA Center has a graduate program which provides mentors to work with our undergraduate students in the Impact LLC. And then our third LLC is Securitas, and that is for cybersecurity students that are interested in exploring careers and research projects in cybersecurity. And that is also jointly run with the CCI, which is our cybersecurity initiative in the state of Virginia, and our iCirc Center, which is a multidisciplinary center for research in the cybersecurity area. And so this is kind of our overview setup here for each of our 3 LLCs. And the intention, again, is to welcome freshmen into a living community with shared interests in either entrepreneurship, data analytics, or cybersecurity. Each of them having a program coordinator on the living side, an academic coordinator on the learning side, and then a center that is supporting both events and speakers and other outreach. So that's an overview of our 3 LLCs and how we've kind of positioned them as part of our experiential learning student services within the college. All of them are open to any major, so students do not have to be in the College of Business to join these LLCs. But there is a required course their first semester, which is a business course, and we can talk more about that as well. And then I wanted to leave you with an image of the dorm where the Innovate LLC is housed, and that's our CID building, which is the Creativity and Innovation District, and that's a super exciting building, and I'll let Derin speak more about that. So that is me just setting the stage here for us, and so I'd love to turn over to Derin and Koehler to talk more.
Hello, everyone. My name is Derin Murphy, as Michelle said. I use she, her pronouns. I just started at Virginia Tech in May, so this is my first year with Virginia Tech, and it's been a lot of fun so far. So I'm going to talk you through what we do on the living side, and then Koehler will jump in with what we do on the learning side to make this a living, learning community. So the Creativity and Innovation District is where we are housed. It is one of our newest residence halls on campus, so that's really neat. The students really love the air conditioning, and I had a student who commented that he was most excited about the bathrooms, and that's still true today. I did follow up with him. And so it's a fantastic space to be in. One of the things that makes this residence hall so unique is there is an opportunity for students to make prototypes and test things in the building. So we have a maker space. It's a collaboration between student affairs and also the College of the School of Visual Arts and Performing Arts. So we have lots of different spaces on the first floor. Our maker space has a wood shop, metal shop, fabrication labs, 3D printers that all of our students are able to get trained on, in addition to serving those classes at the university. We have different studios and also a almost like auditorium space within our residence hall as well that are used for classes and we can use for additional programming outside of class hours. We have a lounge dedicated to our Innovate students, which is really where the hub of our community lives. So you can constantly go up there and see students playing ping pong. They watch games on Saturdays when they sold out of tickets for the football games. That's usually where you can find a lot of Innovate students enjoying the games. Additionally, we host events in there as well. So as the Innovate program coordinator, I plan our extracurricular events. I work with Apex and Koehler to create some co-curricular events as well. So what I do is to develop my programs. I use the NACE competencies, which are 8 competencies that employers would like to see from students after they graduate. So while it's important to focus on entrepreneurship, these skills are important too. So these skills are career and self-development, communication, critical thinking, equity and inclusion, leadership, professionalism, teamwork, and technology. So any of my programs typically relate to that or well-being and building up those skills so that way when they do become entrepreneurs, they have the skills that they need to be successful, not only in the classroom and at work, but also to manage their work-life balance. So in addition to our weekly programming, we do our Engage series, which is where we have our 6 paid student leaders in our community. They lead different initiatives. So Monday nights, we are working on creating a project-based model where students can come together, work on a project, and the community can benefit from it. We're currently workshopping this event. It was looking to develop a pitch competition and then also a small student business fair. However, we're having to pivot a little bit, so more details to come should you decide to follow up with me in the future. The Tuesday nights, we have community culture, which is a play on corporate culture. We focus on well-being, diversity, and inclusion. So we do different events. In November, we're going to see an African circus that will be at our local arts center. But then we'll also go see a football game because we do share our floors with athletics and we want to support our neighbors in our building. Additionally, on Wednesday nights, we do study tables and we'll work with our different partners. So our students had a huge business calculus exam coming up. And so we brought in some student success tutors to assist our students prepare for that class. So one of the things I really like about working as the program coordinator is I get to see what the needs are, and then I get to help respond and figure out what I can do to support students. In addition to that, we do collaborate with our sister living learning communities, Impact and Securitas. So we've hosted 3 events so far with them this semester. We're hoping to do 3 again next semester. And really it's to build community among Pamplin's living learning communities, because they're going to have classes with these other students, and getting to know each other is really, really important, especially in entrepreneurship. You know, a lot of the times it's who you know and how you can get connected. And that one interaction you had while you were playing bowling week 1 of school, who knows, that could end up being your business partner down the line. And then finally, we collaborate with many different offices on campus, and utilizing our campus partners. So that's really the living side. I meet with students, I send out weekly emails, and I, of course, support whatever initiatives are coming through the undergraduate office, and also Management 1064. So the required class. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Koehler, so he can talk more about the learning side.
Thanks, Derin. Yeah, gosh, we do so much, don't we? Like, you see that list and it's like, oh my goodness, like to hear it coming out of your mouth.
We've
It's
had
crazy.
over 30 programs this year, and it's October.
And what you didn't mention was the best one yet. You got to talk about this, the great rubber duck thing you did. Just mention that real quick, because I think it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, so the Great Rubber Duck Regatta was a competition against the living learning communities. And what we did was we rented out our pool facility on campus, and we had students race across the pool on giant inflatable rubber ducks. And it would have been perfect had we ordered smaller ducks. So if you want to replicate this event in the future, make sure you get smaller ducks. If you see the 5-foot one on Amazon, don't do it. But we ended up using inflatable rafts and having them paddle across the pool. And what was really neat about this event was we were able to have that informal interaction between faculty. So Koehler was there, Ron Poff, who is another professor for Innovate, was there as well, along with Securitas and Impact's program coordinators and academic coordinators. And so it was a really good evening, and hopefully an event that we will continue in the coming years, just with better inflatable ducks.
It was still awesome, right? I mean, that's what living learning is all about, right? Like creating amazing team environments, right? Positive learning experiences, right? And so I think from cool for me to see, for in the classroom, to see that translate outside the classroom, because everything that you all do outside really resonates with what we teach and what we want to be happening inside, right? So if they're a big, awesome community team oriented outside, then we're going to see that translate to inside. And so that's kind of where I'll jump off. You know, as academic coordinator, we kind of decided, and we call this Management 1064, the class that we teach with Innovate. And we decided to kind of go 2 ways. And that is, we do foundations of business, like 50%, and then do 50% entrepreneurship. So it's really cool. And we're actually doing a co-teaching environment this year, which is even, I think, even cooler, right? So we have multiple professors, Professor Poff and myself co-teach this class. And then on Fridays, we have this thing called Fireside Chats. And so we have a Monday, Wednesday class, two sections. And then on Friday, we actually usually invite a guest speaker, have a special event, so on and so forth. So they actually get to hear from entrepreneurs that are doing it out there in the real world, or successful entrepreneurs that have, maybe exited a company, get them motivated about them. Or maybe it's someone that can help develop their skills as entrepreneurs, or just as students, right? Trying to figure out what to do, right? So really cool class and academic portion that we have. But I think really our class is focused mostly, especially because it's entrepreneurship, on mindset. And what's so cool about getting their mind right in this class is that when we teach them foundations of business and entrepreneurship and get their mindset right, well, because as I think both of you all mentioned, we have all these different majors, right? So we've got engineers, we got math, we got all these like different things coming from all different places. And I think when we level set with mindset, we see this amazing thing happen. We see students change perspective, right? And we see this different creativity mindset, because we have some people like, look, CID is a great place to live. Don't get me wrong. You all saw the facilities. It's amazing. We have all these students join sometimes because they like the facility, right? But then I think when they get into the class, and that's why I think academics is so important, when we change that mindset and they realize, you know what, maybe I started for the wrong reason, but now I'm here for the right reason. And now I have the mindset to take to the next level, to really start new businesses. And we start seeing these ideas spread in all these different majors. And it's so amazing to see, because engineer minds are way different than business minds, business student minds. And so it's really cool to watch that experience. So that's kind of the academic side. The second step to this is this Apex Center side that we were talking about. It's been mentioned a couple of times. We have this Apex Center. It really is this crucial, critical relationship that we have. Apex was started a while back, and it's a relationship for, we have co-working spaces. We do a lot of startup pitches there. We have a lot of startup weeks. It's a place really to almost like an incubator to incubate companies, and there's support there, not only alumni, but also entrepreneurs that are active entrepreneurs. So we bring people in and they can have kind of a mentorship going on. We have a great relationship with the directors, and we facilitate a lot of co events as well. And so it's nice how it translates to not just the university events, right? It's like, hey, we're having a pitch competition at Apex, but obviously the relationships there, but it's not like it's a university event, right? They kind of feel like they're outside the university, right? But they're still learning all these amazing skills. And we kind of also facilitate good relationships with the community as well there. So we not only do we bring in community members to judge pitch competitions and help mentor our students there, but also we order food from the local establishments downtown, right? So we bring in that food, right? And that always gets the students. So that's kind of the second piece to even my side, the academic side, the innovate side. That Apex Center, I think, is crucial in facilitating those conversations outside the classroom and outside the LLC dorm, but then also giving that connection to community. The
They
third thing
also
I
have
would
the best
go ahead, yeah.
swag items.
Say that again?
They have the
Swag
best
item?
swag items.
You're exactly right. They're amazing. Yeah, they do a great job marketing, and that center really is a crucial part. The third part I wanted to mention, and then love to just kind of chat with you, Derin, back and forth, Dr. Seref, if we could chat about it. I'm sure there's things we're missing. The third part is kind of the entrepreneurship part, right? It's a big focus, and we don't just talk about it, we do it. I said we start with mindset, we do these amazing team building activities. We do the Apex Center, but even more so, our students are pitching within the first 3 weeks. It is real. They come in the second week. I remember their eyes were about this big. We're putting them in teams, and we say, "Hey, you're going to pitch next week." Like, what? Huh? I don't have an idea yet, right? But that's why it's so crucial to get them in teams early. Why it's so crucial to have that them getting together often and doing the things like the rubber ducky regatta, because we've got to get them close and we got to get them working together, because they're going to be, we throw them into the fire right away, real quick. So that's third. It's just, we don't just say that we're entrepreneurship and then let them live in the dorm and then do the thing. We are a living, active, learning community that every single thing that we have planned out in their day-to-day, they're actually doing entrepreneurship. Pretty cool. With that being said, Derin, what'd I miss?
Well, you really hit the pitch competition well. To highlight that a little bit more, we have a community or a corporate research center on on campus, which is kind of really unique to us. And they do an annual, what is it called? Startup Week?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Startup
so,
weekend.
it was neat getting to see the students move in. They're all kind of shy, hanging out around their parents, to then pitching professionally at a pitch party with entrepreneurs. And what was really special, I think, about Virginia Tech is, Koehler was introducing me to people who I then was introducing to students. And I think that's one of the best things is we're looking to work more with our alumni network. Some of the things that Koehler and I have discussed is we have we have a fellow apartment here in our building, and how can we utilize that more to bring in professional entrepreneurs and create an executive in residence program, a week of entrepreneurship events. And so I think the nice thing is that we're not afraid to try new things, and then we're also not afraid to ask for feedback from our students to see how we're doing.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think we're constantly trying to get feedback, right? I mean, I think you were saying after every event, you're collecting data, right? How many people attended? How was it? What's their feeling on it? Was it valuable, right? So I think we're constantly in this data set of just collecting, and making sure we're analyzing and pivoting as necessary, because that's what entrepreneurship's about. That's what this living learning community is about, is like, if we do fail, how do we pivot and figure out the next thing, right? Because we do want to make it valuable.
Yeah, and I think the integration of student leaders in our community. So each section has a teaching assistant who I believe went through the Innovate courses, correct? And then
Correct.
we have 6 students living in our halls that are also there. So week 4 or 5, I pulled all of the attendance, tracked down every single person, and it turns out we had about 30 out of the 180 who have not attended an event this year. And so I was able to connect with my student leaders and say, hey, can you reach out to these students and invite them to the next event? We're not there to drill them of like, why aren't you coming? But like, also like, you're paying for this experience. We want you to get the most out of this. And so I think that there is a lot of opportunity that we're exploring as well, of how we can better utilize our student leaders and what can we do to bring our TAs into the halls and those kind of things as well, which I think makes Innovate very unique.
Yeah, for sure. I think, one thing that you had that you talked about is this whole, like, the leaders and getting them getting them actively involved and the stuff we do afterwards. And I think what made me think about is another thing we do in the academic side is we make sure that we do we do strength finders in our academic, right? So we figure out, hey, if you haven't done strength finders, like, figure out what your strengths are. And then we actually have a workshop that's coordinated by our leadership development team, right? These PhDs in leadership development that can come in, they can facilitate this amazing workshop to tell you, hey, these are where your strengths are, this is where your team strengths are. And then we can help them understand how to work with people better, right? And so I think we're constantly working towards this academic / living / the outside the classroom stuff to bring everyone into one cohesive team, which is cool.
I will say the other thing that I think that Koehler, Michelle, and I have really done this year is really focused on how do we tell our story? How do we share what Innovate does? And so Michelle just pulled up, we recently updated our website. And so this is all up to date. And then on the right-hand side is our Instagram, which I highly recommend following, innovate_BT. It's our way of showing what we're doing. It not only helps our students feel connected, and I've seen parents go in and like pictures and all that kind of stuff, but it also helps us recruit new students for the future, which I think is really meaningful. We really try to focus on the student experience, which I think is a big element of living learning communities.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I wanted to make sure we could see the big rubber duckies, so that's what's in the upper right-hand corner there.
I think Koehler is underneath the one closest to us, and then I am under the further one, and then if the guy next to me is Ron.
No,
Instructor.
good.
That looks fantastic, everyone. Thank you so much for this amazing, amazing information and your panel. We have a couple questions from the audience if you're ready to jump into those.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the first question is, how do all of these different living learning communities work together?
Yeah, so one of the great things that we do is we meet every 2 weeks. So Michelle usually leads the meeting, and it's the academic coordinators, the program coordinators, and sometimes our centers attend, usually about once a month, and we talk about what's going on in our community. I personally meet with the other program coordinators usually once a week during the summer. It's been a little bit less frequent since the year started, but we think about where our goals align. So one of the events we brought up was wanting to do an event about the election and how voting is our business. Get it? We're the business college. And so Michelle thought that was a great idea. And so instead of me doing my own separate event, the three of us collaborated and brought 45 students and a speaker together to learn about why it's important to vote. And we helped students register for the election, which was probably one of the coolest things that I've done in my career so far, is helping students engage civically. And so we had our kickoff together, which was a bowling, and we rented out our student center's break zone. So bowling, ping pong, billiards, all the fun things. And then we also had our Great Rubber Duck Regatta together, because who wouldn't want to get on a giant rubber duck?
Why not?
So,
Yeah, thank you, Derin. I think really again, just emphasizing that this is an exploratory time. And so even if a student is signed up for the entrepreneurship living community, we want them to meet with the data analytics or talk to somebody who's in cyber, or go to a cyber speaker event and learn what that is. And likewise, we want our analytics people to come and see what entrepreneurship is and see what opportunities exist at the Apex Center, and get to know each other. It's all about connections and exploration, helping students find their path.
Amazing. We have time for one more question before this ends at 25 past. What is something you would tell another university who is just growing its living learning community programs?
Yeah, so I'll say that our 3 living learning communities, and the Securitas living learning community is brand new this year. Impact is in its 3rd year. Innovate is something like in its 7th or 8th year. So we really are at all the different stages, which is another reason why we meet every 2 weeks to share best practices, which has been very helpful. I think that Securitas, starting off, did a fantastic job really pushing its social media presence and really trying to kind of introduce itself. But to Derin's point, we're all learning how to tell our story of who we are and what we do. I think expectations for student engagement sometimes has to be adjusted without feeling defeated, right? And really trying to meet students where they're at and see what they're interested in, where their schedules are. A lot of our students in Impact, for example, are engineering students. And so they happen to have a whole bunch of different labs that are in different days than some of our business students. And so we're really trying to meet the students where they are. I think the other thing I would recommend that Derin and her team of program coordinators have done really well is to create a set of expectations for students on what it means to be part of the community and what participation is required. And so they've established some really good guidelines and really kind of rubrics for making impactful participation, so that everybody can benefit in the community. So I think they've done a great job with that.
one of the things that I've been stressing to my students, I mentioned the project-based nights on Monday that we're just not getting attendance. And for me, I tell them there's no failure unless we stop trying. And so as long as we continue to try something new and try to engage students that we haven't engaged yet, we're not failing. Failing is us saying, well, goodbye,
No,
you know, like,
right.
and so that's my thing is, be patient, be considerate, you're not I haven't had a full attendance event. I don't think I ever will.
Mm.
I'll be like, I predict we're going to have about 20 students, and I'm usually right when I guess. And so just know that like numbers are not everything. Attendance plus experience is what really sets it. And so, or what really should be your goal. If there's a small group, but they take so much away from that small group discussion or get more one-on-one time, like that's still a victory.
Yep. Quality over quantity.
That's great. Thank you all so much for answering those questions. And thank you so much for your time.